Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And tonight, I want to welcome you to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream where members only with the icon can be in the chat room. But never fear, ladies and gentlemen, because we're an equal opportunity YouTube channel. Everybody can watch. But on Wednesday, only members with the icon can be in the chat room. So please come along, listen to some excellent advice, recommendations, ways to make money, ways to improve yourself, a little motivation tonight. Well, we got to talk about it. What is success? Somebody, please help me out here. How anyone can create success. Oh, that's right. Hope is not all lost. That's why we call this channel Stop Struggling Now, because we're here to help. And do you really, really want the answer to this? You know the answer, but are you willing to do what it takes? And that's the crux of the situation. And welcome. Stop Struggling Now gear. Apropos. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you so much for being here. And please share the videos because you never know who we're going to be able to help out here. And you never know who needs help. Some people are silent and need help. So you never know. Now, let's get into it. Let me see who's in the house tonight. We have Miracle Bro. The young gun is in the house. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream with the icon next to his name. I want to thank you so much for being here. And he brings his tagline tonight, SSN Nation Unite. That's right, we're here. And he says he's got the notification and saw the trailer. Thank you so much for letting me know. Everybody, when you come in tonight, please let me know if you saw the trailer and received the notification but let's get into it, shall we? What is success in reality? We can go to the dictionary. We can go look up some person's ideas, thoughts over the last thousands of years. But ultimately, what does it mean to you to be a success? That is the thing. What's up here in your head? That is the kicker. Victor Marrero is here. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream with the icon next to his name as well. I appreciate you being here. Very nice. And he brings one of two taglines, his favorite one. Hello, all. Let's do this, and this we shall do. And thank you again, Victor Marrero, for being here. And he lets me know he received the YouTube notification and saw the trailer. This is excellent news to hear. Thank you so much once again for letting me know. And Victor Marrero, he's considered in many people's eyes success, his own, I hope, success. And again, is it based on what criteria? I'm going to give you guys a little story. All right, here it is. 1930, the midst of the Great Depression. People are out of work, rolling paper in the streets, dollar bills, that is, stacked up like it's Venezuela 2019. Stacked up. People don't have jobs. You have to live off the land, get money, and work wherever you can, except if you're a minority in America. You're limited to even lesser job availability because you're going to have to be mostly in the service industries. Now, not everybody, but quite a few. And you also have to live on a certain side of town. You can't just live anywhere. And generally, that certain side of town, well, let's just say nobody really wants to live on that certain side of town. But yet, somehow, the person has a job, raises a family, gets their children, even trying to get them successful. In the case of the guys of what they're thinking success is, go to school, get an education. So somebody's working. One parent household, 16 hours a day for 25 years. Is that a success for that person, ladies and gentlemen? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Because in that person's mind, their success was based on, hey, I had these 3 or 4 children. Did I get them to college? Because that's all I care about. I want them to be better than me. Give them a real chance to be successful. So here you are, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about this tonight. Now, it has nothing to do with money because there is none, even after working those 16 hours a day. But there's a roof over your head, food on the cupboards, and, well, a couple scraggly clothes every now and then that now you have to learn skills. You have to make your own clothes. You can't just go buy them off the shelf because you don't have the money for that. But you can go buy material and make it, create it, and at least go out the house, out the place you live with some clothes on and they look decent, but you know how to make clothes. Again, skill sets that you didn't even know that they're successful. So depending on how you looked at it, you could say, woe is me. Or some people would say, that's success. You met your obligation. You met what you considered success because your success was based on, this is what I need to do. And once you did what you needed to do, that's successful. So here we are. Victor Marrero chimes in. He says, success to me is physical and mental health. It also helps others achieve what you have. Exactly, Victor Marrero. I subscribe to all of that as well, because you have to be motivated a little bit. But sometimes it's not really motivation. So we're in the 2020s. And what are people saying? I'm giving out quotes on social media. Everybody has quotes. Everybody has their way of saying something. Manifestation is now somehow a thing, right? And if you see it in your head and heart and mind, and all of a sudden you're like, as long as you can see it, you might get it. People put posters on a wall, pictures on a wall of what they want to get to or what they deem as successful. So then that way you're striving for it every day in a motivational way. That's considered success. How is that creating? But see, you're creating success in a different way. Now, success isn't always money. Look at Victor Marrero. What did he say? Look at what he says. For him, physical and mental health. See, other people would say, I got to make $1 million or whatever has to do with a monetary situation. But again, success is different to everybody. So somebody goes to school, finishes high school, that could be success. Why? Because nobody else in their family has ever finished high school. Then the next person says, well, all my brothers went to college. All my brothers have a PhD. So I'm the black sheep of the family because I didn't even go to finish school. I didn't do anything, but I have my own business over here. And yeah, I make like $100,000 a year, but because my PhDs, brothers and sisters, they make 2 or 3, 400,000 a year. I'm not successful. Well, see, ladies and gentlemen, comparison shopping, none of us will be successful if we do comparison shopping. You have to be you. That's the bottom line. If your dreams are coming true, does it really matter what somebody else's dreams are? Not really. And if your dreams are coming true, then that should qualify as success. Different levels for everybody, depending on what your mindset is. So let's put things in perspective a little more, shall we? Everybody, no matter who you are, you have a scale in your head. You're saying this is what success means to me. But nobody can explain what I've discussed before, which is dark, I have to admit, but we have to talk about this. Think about if somebody makes, let's just say monetary. We'll go monetary because in America, success is based on that. But let me tell you something. In other parts of the world, there's a thing called your family name. Your name, your family name could mean success. And the fact is, generation after generation, as you carry your family name forward and how you interact with your neighbors, with your family, is actually a sign of success. Has nothing to do with how much you have, not anything to do with how much money you have, nothing to do with the material objects you have, none of that. So there's a lot of societies that cares less about the almighty dollar, like in the United States. And it's up to when I walk outside, hello, good morning, opening, closing doors, being polite, being respectful. That is success if you can carry forward your next generation and they proceed to do the same thing and we're all moving in unison. See, success dictates what you believe success is. So let's talk about it some more, ladies and gentlemen. Victor Marrero says working because you want to and not because you have to. That's also success. There you go. See, there goes another form of success. Exactly right. He's exactly right. Because depending on who you are, like here at Stop Struggling Now, we've been talking for 4 years, going on maybe 5 years, but it's been 4 years for sure. And we've talked motivational. I've done some motivational videos. Those are the worst ever. Most people don't want to hear it. But the fact of the matter is, you're out here every day figuring out, you have a little calibration in your head going, what does it mean for me to be successful? And you're striving for that, not realizing possibly you're already successful, but you're looking for something else. You're saying, nah, in my head, I'm not successful. People around you are like, wait, you're doing okay for yourself. We don't see a problem on the outside looking in, but therein lies the actual inherent danger. Because a person could be making $15,000 a year monetarily and say, I'm a success. A person making $200,000 a year says the person making 15,000, how can he think he's successful? This is crazy. But see, it's two different mindsets. The person making 15,000 a year, well, they might have already bought some assets. They might already have money coming in from somebody somewhere else and they're helping people. That's what they want to do. You just never know. So again, then you have to get into the dark side. The dark side is if somebody's making money as a priority and all of a sudden they make $25,000 a year, some people, I'll say, commit suicide. A person making 100,000 commits suicide. A person making $1 million commits suicide. A person that has $10 million in the bank, they commit suicide. A person that makes 100 million a year commits suicide. And I hear people posting up things like, well, even if I'm poor, if I'm depressed, if I'm sad, I would rather have $100 million because I can buy my way. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't buy your way out. If you're not happy, no amount of piles of money are going to help you. So therefore, you want the answer? Success is how you create success in your own mind, ladies and gentlemen, and how you feel it is. But pressuring yourself into what society thinks or what someone else thinks means success, that's where you have to start having these demons. Think about it. Like I said, the stories I've told you before, my friends would always come and say, "Hey, Eric, why do you live here? Why do you have these cars? What are you doing? What's going on?" I'm like, what do you mean? What's going on? They're like, "We know what you do. We know you make money and you have all these cars. Why do you have these 20-year-old cars? Why do you have these 15-year-old cars? Why don't you have new cars? Why do you live in these little rundown apartments?" They consider them rundown. I consider them safe, inexpensive. Nobody's bothering me. I have kitchens. I have bathrooms. I have living rooms. Not noisy. But every now and then there's a little noise. Let's call it what it is. But it's not like in the danger zone. There's no gunshots going off. But it does cost a lot less. So that's where I'm living. That's where I'm hanging. I'm happy. I'm successful. I have money. I can do whatever I want to do. Does it really matter where you live? Think about it, ladies and gentlemen, because we have a lot of people out here right now who works at a job, who worries about what somebody thinks of them. And that's the majority of people in America because our society is based on monetary. What you're looking like when you're clothes, when you go outside, what shoes you may have on, what jewelry you may have, what bags you may be carrying. All of that psychological warfare against you stops you from creating the success potentially that you deserve. So think about that because that's what you're going to need going forward. There's going to be more pressure on you, ladies and gentlemen, because as you know, around 70% of people that get married, they get divorced due to none other than finances. None other than finances. Or secondly, you're not pulling your weight. It could be that as well, but is it a success? You got together, you built a foundation of some sort. That's success, but it's not that. No, we can't buy a new car every 2 years or 3 years or whatever the status symbol stuff is. We can't live in that big old house because our 3, 4, 5 friends have that. So we just live in a $300,000, $250,000 house. So I can't have it, one partner says. We got to do more. But I'm already working 14 hours a day. These are the things, ladies and gentlemen, that you have to start realizing. You may be your own worst enemy because your real answer for success means you have to work at whatever it is you deem is success. And it could be detrimental. So again, let's see what else is going on today. Laverne Penix is here. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. And of course, he has the icon because only members with the icon can be in the chat room tonight. And he brings his tagline, "Hello, SSN Nation. I hope everyone is doing well. I received a notification in trailer. All right, that's 3 people. Thank you so much for that." And Laverne Penix is known here as Mr. Cool, AKA Mr. Cool is in the house. Once again, thank you so much, Laverne Penix. I appreciate you being here. Once again, James Way, welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream with the icon. And he brings his tagline, "The rent is too damn high." And that's exactly what we're talking about here tonight a little bit, because success, once rent gets too damn high, you start thinking in your head, damn, I can't make more money. That means I'm not successful. Yeah, well, little did you know, that's the playbook by governments around the world for centuries. And he brings it. Good evening, all. Good evening to you too, James Way. Thank you again for being here, and I appreciate the support with the icon next to your name. He says he received a notification as well. We're up to 6 people tonight with that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me know, and I'm very happy you received that notification. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know, success breeds the other side of the fence as well. Because let's call it what it is. The worst thing that ever happened to me, and like I said, I believe everything happens for a reason, is when you're let's say impressionable, or let's say you're one of them guys, always been one of the dogs, right? You're always one of the top dogs, natural abilities from all over the area, right? Nobody knows what's going on. Well, when you're like 20 years old, 21 years old, 22 years old, and you're going into business meetings, and I'll use this personally. You're going into business meetings as a minority black guy in America, and everything that had to do with money, there's generally mostly was white guys in the room. So now you're in the room, they see you in the room, and they're looking at you like, okay, he's not even nowhere near us or whatever. So if anything comes up of any value, they kind of ignore, right? They say nothing. They're just like, okay, he clearly is not on our level, so we don't have nothing to say. And I'm pretty sure he's not going to have nothing to say. But then again, every once in a blue moon, somebody goes, wait a minute. This guy's in the same place we are. How'd he? Wait. So now you have these guys, 1, 2, come over and be like, hey, what's up? What's going on? One guy curious, second guy like, okay, what are you doing? You're in the same place we are. What's up? Now all of a sudden the words are coming out of my mouth, and these guys are like, wait, hold on a second. You guys, come over here. You got to hear what this guy's saying. All of a sudden, now the crowd comes around. They're like, hey, this guy's successful. Listen to what he's saying. He has all these properties. He has all this stuff. He's telling us how to do it. We never even thought of it. Wait a minute. A room full of millionaires. Now all of a sudden, this guy over here, 21 years old, and these guys are 40, 50, 60s. They're just like, oh, wait, hold on. All right. Welcome to the club. But up until welcome to the club, they said he's not successful. He's just here by accident. There is no way. This is what happens around the world. So you have to protect yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let anybody stop you from you thinking that you're successful. Don't let anybody tell you you're not. Work your ass off, get your knowledge, get information, and don't let anybody tell you you can't do it because they don't think you can. All right, motivational tonight, ladies and gentlemen. George Charles is here. Let's talk about motivation. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. And he has the icon next to his name. And he says, hi, money people. The emerging millionaires in the house. And he's saying, F average, be legendary. And he's still hunting. He's still looking. He's saying, okay, I'm successful, but I'm about to take this to a whole nother level. That's what he's trying to do, ladies and gentlemen. George Charles says at Victor Marrero. Hello, Victor Marrero says China and Brazil reached a deal today to trade in their own currencies, ditching the U.S. dollar. Basically, they won't have to convert to U.S. dollars first. Honduras also dealing directly with China. Okay. Success by China and the world is going down. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, before, America is a third world country, but you don't know it yet. And also, the rest of the world is getting tired of military industrial complex push around. Then they're getting tired of how you can be 30 some trillion dollars in debt and still print more money and still have world currency and still restrict other people. So let's talk about things like you're in the Dominican Republic. What is it? 57-1 or some crazy nonsense, right? Let's say you're in the Philippines. What is it? 10, 12-1 of their peso, right? What if you're in Mexico? I don't even know what Mexico is. I haven't been there in a few years. So let's say 7-1. United States and the dollar is dictating to other currencies and other countries this is what your currency is worth and against our dollar. They're like, you know what? You know better than us, and you're dictating to us how much our currency is worth. And now we not you money, which causes inflation in that country, more of our money to actually buy. Come on, stop this nonsense. They're like, we'll just actually deal with each other. We'll take their currency, they'll take our currency. We don't actually need you, but we need you. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? There's no way that you can transfer money electronically. That's where America has a stranglehold. So don't listen to people out here getting up all riled up, because ultimately the world evolves around electronic payment systems. Now, if there's another country that somehow is able to create electronic currency exchanges, what I'm talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, is SWIFT. All right. That's what we're talking about here. So United States and the Euros, they own like the SWIFT network. So if you're not on the SWIFT network, then nobody's sending you $10 million to China. Right? You guys understand this. So you would have to have some other means of getting that movement. Well, crypto's here. That means it's possible. But see, that's the other downfall, because if you open up the crypto can of worms and you allow countries and countries accept crypto and say, we'll just go back and forth, and now all of a sudden you can't control your citizens. But why would you need to control your citizens if you're a good country? That's the funny part, right? Why are you controlling what your citizens buy, spend their money on? And that has nothing to do with your functioning economy, other than you stealing their stuff. You don't have access to bank accounts, so you can just take people's stuff out their banks, pay parking tickets, pay a taxation without representation system. Bye. Yeah, that might be a bad thing for a government. But once again, United States actually has the world currency by the balls. All right. Other countries, they're going to keep doing this. They're going to defect somewhat. But again, you're not going to be able to move billions of dollars and millions of dollars by saying we're going to take $1 million of yours, which now you're going to have to set a criteria. You're going to say they're still going to do the same thing the United States is doing. They're going to say, okay, your currency or your country is not as strong as ours, so we're not going to do a one-to-one exchange. How are you going to do a one-to-one? You can't. So that's what's going to eventually happen. So all this stuff making noise, forget about it. What's up, buddy? Everything is tracking his plan. One day closer to retirement. Victor Morrell, we got to know when this retirement is. We got to hold does it have to be a virtual party? Why not? We're going to have to hold a virtual party on the Victor Morrell D-Day. And then tonight, I'm actually going to give you guys some more things about success, because what is success when you really think about it, right? I'm going to show you guys something that I actually have been withholding from you. All right. George's Charles, I want more. See, George's Charles, he's on that, what shall we call, capitalism kick. So that's what he's going to be doing. Eric, you are on point. What makes a third world country is either you're rich or you're poor. There is no middle class. Exactly. The U.S., you see the gap between the rich keeps getting bigger. It's already there. The top one. Okay, hold on. It's okay, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just get this straight out here in case you don't find success. You wonder why you may think that you're not successful because it's based on monetary. What if you knew? In fact, I don't even know the number. I don't even know the answer to this. We have 350 million, right? People, and maybe 360, maybe 370. 350 million people times what is 0.1%? I'm using Google. I love this. 350,000. Okay, you guys are about to find out something, and I'm going to tell you right now. Good thing you're here for this, because I'm going to tell you something, and you're not going to like it. What if, let me see this number again. What if 350,000 people. All right. You hear this, right? Let me give you the numbers again. 350 million Americans are in the United States. What if 350,000 people owed as much wealth as 140 million to 170 million people? Did you hear me? Did you hear me? 0.1% owns more wealth than 140 to 170 million Americans. Combined, 0.1%. Do you understand what I'm saying? And you think you live in a capitalist system and you're thinking success is based on what exactly? There's advantages. All right. So here we go. All right. Just think about it. All right. Let's see. I lost track. Soon we won't have a middle class. He said it best exactly. Countries start to collapse. There we go. They've already started. Venezuela's on there. I mean, you can just keep going down the list. United States as well. I mean, Zimbabwe and countries all over. Greece. I mean, this has all happened. You guys have to understand. France at one time had world currency. United Kingdom at one time had world currency. How do you think these guys got empires? Back in the day, China had world currency, but not by the standards we have now. I'm referring back when China was controlling everything around the world. And then this new monetary system came in, and that's when the Europeans got together and said, you know what, guys, we're going to make one of these guys the almighty. If you want to trade with us, who are the wealthier nations, after, well, I won't get into political situation, but let's just say thievery was at an all-time high thousands of years ago. Let's just put it that way. All right. Thievery's at an all-time high. So when you have that going on and you are able to get all the assets, stolen assets, then therefore you get to dictate to the world how things are going to be distributed monetarily. And that's literally what's been happening. And all civilizations crumble sooner or later. Now, can it stop? Apparently not, because we're still saving banks. We're still saving and bailing out billionaires. The top 0.1% is somehow getting bailed out. I want to take some of those assets. Why do I need to bail them out? They own 40% of the wealth. These guys. Why are we bailing them out exactly? Sell some of that shit. All right, let's go, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with success. What is success? Anybody? Take it. Victor Morrell put in him. George Charles put in what he wanted to say, how anyone can create success. You know what? You know how you create success, ladies and gentlemen? It's in your mind. It's what you want. You don't have to go by what society dictates. You don't have to go by what somebody else wants. It's what you want. All right? That's how simple this is. Don't make it complicated. All right. Looks like we may have to accelerate our move to DR. If the US dollars loses its reserve currency status, we'll be poor instantly. You got that right. That's why crypto's on fire now. BTC and ETH. Exactly, Victor Morrell. But you know what? You know who actually who's investing in crypto? See, this is what I'm worried about with regard to crypto ultimately. If there is no ecosystem, just like a US dollar bill is, there's no real ecosystem, then that means you have to do what FTX was doing, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and then borrowing from Paul to pay Peter. I mean, it's ridiculous, but that's literally what's going to have to happen, because let's face facts. This is how it all works. Math, you can't cheat math. So if I put $1 billion in, there's only $1 billion. And if nobody spends their money and nobody allows borrowing, then it's $1 billion. It can't move. So somebody says, okay, we all have $1 billion and we share. So let's just use $1 million. We all 10 of us have $1 million. Okay. I want to go out and buy a house. Am I going to buy the house cash? Let's just say most people would not. So you go buy a $500,000 house cash. One guy does. He only has $500,000 at his disposal. The next guy goes, I'm just going to put down $100,000. I'm going to pay, $3,000 a month. And now there's a loan, though, against something. Either his credit is good, it's thin air. But guess what? That $500,000, that's a loan. That's actually printed from somewhere. You won't be able to do this with crypto if you actually don't allow loans. So that means everybody would have to use their money, but that's not what's going to happen. Crypto has not shown that they're not fiat based. So you're going to be able to borrow against your crypto. So crypto is just another dollar, except it's changed. That's all that's going to happen. So it's not going to ultimately be any different than the dollar bill system, because there's no other way you can pump money in, and nobody's really wanting to spend their money. That's the whole point. That's why this system we have exists. And therefore it's just, and we've already seen it's already moved to crypto like that. It's just that companies went out of business. All these guys that was saying we're going to give you 2%, 3%, 5%, 10%. You know who they are: Nexo, BlockFi, all these guys in trouble because they were using it as leverage. They were borrowing against the assets that they had under management. So I don't think ultimately people pour into crypto that you're going to hold it or sell it. So you're only going to sell it if it's higher. After it's not higher, then what? You're going to be just like, in my eyes, you're going to have to be just like, ultimately, like the guys that buy gold and silver. The only way the price can continue to go up is somebody has to buy it higher than what you bought it for and think that's a value. That's how real estate works. That's how assets work. But assets bring money in. So when I go and put my money and buy crypto, it doesn't give us money back. So is it an asset or is it a hedge against the dollar bill? But ultimately, again, if you start really digging and saying, hey, okay, let's just say everybody had crypto, then what? You're going to say, okay, this is worth $50. Here's $50 worth of crypto. Then you're going to say, this is worth $1 million, but I don't have $1 million worth of crypto, but I'd like to buy it. Well, then you can't move your crypto. That means the value is nothing. So you have to create a loan environment. And that's where things are always a downfall. All right, just think about it, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why I have to promote Miracle Cash and More right now, because they are backed by, well, the Boogie Gopher Club NFT, the cash flow NFT, is backed by Miracle Cash and More, who has stores, who's licensed and regulated, who you're sharing part of the profits with. And then you receive under the, what do they call that? Marketing franchise agreement. I think that's what it's called. Under that, you receive part of the profits. That's right. Now you're talking, because it's a business that generates income. And then from that income, it goes to your NFT or your crypto. Now, I'm all for that. We don't have to print anything out of thin air. But wait, it's going to happen, because if you're getting a $10,000 per month commission payout, that means that NFT is worth something. That actually means it's worth $1 million plus. So that's $120,000 a year, which means 1.2 mil, which now means you could actually go to a bank and say, look, I got 120K and I'm going to let you hold this as collateral. And can you give me a 120K loan or whatever? So see, round and round we go. But all I'm saying is I'd rather have something generating revenue where that gives you payout. That has a value, just like a business, just like Warren Buffett says, right? That's why Warren Buffett doesn't really like crypto. So anyhow, back to it. Or we can take our Bitcoin bags and move to Bitcoin City at El Salvador. No, can't do that because they're doing the government wallet. The government wallet. That's crazy, right? No, not unless they change their ways. I haven't checked on El Salvador lately, but that didn't help them become Bitcoin country, did it? Just like Bitcoin Miami, right? Come on. You can make excuses or you can make money. You can't do both. There you go. I like that, Georges Charles. That is very true. If that's your success quotient, if that's what you're looking at, that's how it's going to have to be. Now, here's the thing. I just wanted to have this little conversation today, but please make sure you smash that like button. And if you like what I'm talking about, please subscribe to the channel. And you don't want to miss Friday night live stream where the chat room is open to everybody. And in case you're trying to get in the chat room, there's a reason. On Wednesday night live stream, only members with the icon. That means members of the channel. They're the only ones that can be in the chat room. On Friday and Monday nights, everybody can be in the chat room. So please come back and join us. And we'll be talking about some other money-making ways, just what we do here at Stop Struggling Now. And I have a lot to talk about. So here's the first thing about money-making ways. But is it time for a little commercial? I think it is, ladies and gentlemen. Here goes one of the surprises, right? We always have these little SSN lifestyle moments. So I'm going to play this, the new little surprise, even though you guys kind of already knew a little bit of this. But here you go. Let's see. Check this one out, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you on the other side about 1 minute from now because I got to find myself some bottled water. But anyhow, check this out for the time being. Right, ladies and gentlemen, what is success tonight? And oh, by the way, yeah, if I'll be going to Paris probably next year, not this year. I'll probably be going next year. But now you guys know where to find me because those are my, that's where I always go to eat. It's like a little, I just love, these guys are always on top. I love these guys. Last time I was at the restaurant and by the chateau, and the guys, I had a watch on, which I have a watch brand that I love, and most people don't love the watch. It's not Rolex, okay? It's not AP, all right? It's not them. It's not Mont Blanc. It's not. No, it's not that. Again, everybody has their way of spending money, and that ain't one of them. So I like something a little different. So anyhow, I'm in France. People in Europe, they love watches. So they see this watch that I'm wearing. And the next thing I know, the first French guy, he's sitting there and he's just like, no way. So he sees the dials, he sees everything, and he's like, no way. So I take it off. He's like, then I said, yeah, it's over like a pound or something. He's like, no way. And so he's like, I take it off. He's like, oh my God, these people went ballistic because of the intricate designs and everything. So I'm sitting there and we're sitting at like the way the seating is in the restaurant is probably like, it's weird. It's almost like circular. So even though you're not all sitting at a table, it seems like you're all sitting at the same table, even though you're sitting at separate tables. So anyhow, we have like 20 people lined up around, and he just starts handing it to the next person. And the next person is like, oh my God. And they start talking. I'm sitting there like, this is crazy. So it's got this excitement in this whole place. And these guys are like awesome there. So I always say, go there, guys. All right. Anyhow, but the story is it took about 10, 15 minutes before I got my watch back. Now, in case anybody doesn't understand, in Europe, if I'm in America, I probably would have shut that crap down. All right. I would have said, that ain't happening. After he passed it around to the first person, I'd have been like, okay, no, sorry. But in Europe, I was like, go on. Because I know it's coming back. Is that kind of wild? I know it's coming back. That's the difference, right? That's the difference. I'm not even tripping. They're just like, oh, let's check it out. And they're just passing it like, in America, though, we wouldn't have had 20, 30 exchanges. That wouldn't have happened. I would have never let that happen. So just giving you an idea. So when Victor Marrero says he loves Europe, when Mr. and Mrs. Cool say they love Europe, trust me, you guys, you got to go visit and hang out. I don't mean just like that tourist crap. All right. I don't mean that like, like most people. I'm going to go to the UK. I'm going to go to London, right? I'm going to go to France. I'm going to hang in Paris. And I'm just going to stay by that little touristy stuff, right? Go to Disneyland or Disney World Paris, whatever. You go Switzerland and you're like, okay, I'm going to go to Geneva, Zurich. No. Go hang for real. All right. Go to the suburbs. Go hang out, man. Take the metro. Take the trains. You can be back the same day. They got the serious services going on. It ain't America. All right. This isn't Amtrak. All right. No Amtrak. We got real trains over in Europe. All right. We can be in other countries in hours, or in England, you can be to France in less than 30 minutes if you're in certain parts of London. I mean, come on. This is crazy. You can be in Italy from France in another 3 hours. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. This is craziness. You can be in countries hanging out, having dinner in 2 hours, and then be back home at midnight partying in another country. Come on. Get with the program. All right. What is success? You create your own success. How can you create it? Well, get started today, because you're always going to have to learn something. You can't be successful without learning. All right. I know you don't want to hear this answer, because most people, the top 1%ers, the top 10%ers, guess what? They put in work. It didn't just happen overnight. It didn't happen in a week either. Didn't happen in a month. Didn't happen in a year. It took years. Every now and then somebody does hit that lightning in a bottle. We always have lottery winners. We always have somebody that actually has extraordinary skills, extraordinary things that they've done, ideas that came out and nobody thought about, so you could be successful monetarily. But what is success really? You're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to earn it the old-fashioned way. All right, I'm going to keep going. Let's go. Was that your hometown in France? No, well, not where I was born, but that's where I hang out. That's where I hang out at, man. No, I don't. Not a lick. I'll speak more Spanish than I can ever French, because I'm an American citizen. Let's just call it what it is. All right. French kid moves to America. Come on. Who's talking French in America? No freaking body. Can't even get French in school at the time. So at the time I'm 4, 5, 6, whatever. No, not happening. So, and quite frankly, I said, you know what? One day I said, I used to speak French when I was a kid, but when I got here, back in the States, back in the States, I'm a black guy. So schools I go to, no French classes, but we got Spanish class though. We have, so I actually tried to learn French, right? Even when I went to go over to play basketball, I was like, but I unbelievably, I can't get it. I just can't get it. So I just turned off. I was like, you know what? I don't even have to worry about it. You know why? Luckily, most people there speak English. They speak more than one language. So I'm like, I'm too good. Do you speak French or did you move to the USA too premature? Yeah, premature. That Victor Morel exactly with the smiley face. No, it wasn't premature. I spoke French. I could order food and everything, you know? But the people here in the United States are like, what? What's he saying? Where are you from? you guys, it's hilarious. America's hilarious after you're not in the country, even though I was so small. But it's hilarious when you come in the country and you're old enough to realize you're like, this is like the Twilight Zone. It's the Twilight Zone here. You guys don't understand. It really is the Twilight Zone. If you live outside of the country and what is success, look, okay, Victor Morel, he's lucky. If you're lucky enough to have anything to do with Puerto Rico, even if you're in the Virgin Islands, I don't really care. If you're lucky enough to live not in the United States, but live in a uh, I shouldn't even say Puerto Rico is the United States, but it's not treated like that. It's almost like a foreign country still. But the fact of the matter is, that's the best thing that could ever happen, quite frankly, because man, Victor Morel knows. If you guys, I have nothing but love for Puerto Rico. I just got to tell you, if you, how is this? Here, I don't even. In fact, I've lived. I never had the fortunate way to grow up in a state or a city in America for like 10 years or nothing. But every place in America is not like other places around the world. That's all I can say. I've stayed in places, but it's different. Like I said, when I'm in Vincennes and I'm sitting at the restaurant and these guys are taking my stuff that, well, ain't like it ain't like thousands of dollars, but it was expensive. But these guys are like passing it around. And for a person to just say, like, no worries, right? But if I'm in the States, I would never do no crap like that. All right. That right there gives you my mindset. If I'm in Puerto Rico and somebody says, hey, we're going over here. It's not a great neighborhood. Okay, it might not be a great neighborhood. But if you know people that are in that neighborhood, guess what? It's going to be a great neighborhood because when I go there, it's like, hey, it's time to eat. Let's bust out the cerveza. Let's do all this stuff. Hey, play some music and everybody's welcome. No problems. All right. I'm just saying, I have no issues in Puerto Rico either. All right. Same thing. I have no issues. It's just that as soon as I get on a plane and land here in America, I'm driving down the street, minding my own business, walking around the corner, minding my own business. I got issues. All right. So let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. That's amazing. Thinking you can be in another country in a matter of hours. And here we are trying to figure out what to do this weekend. Exactly, Victor Morel. Hey, Maria Barnes knows what I'm talking about. I don't know if she's here tonight, but Mr. Cool has probably partaked in his European adventure. Chevy Chase was doing his European adventure movie, right? It's funny. It's funny. And Victor Morel, you guys all know you can, and forget the trains and all that. You can jump on a plane for $70, 50, $60, be in another country in 30 minutes, up, down. Come on. You guys know how this works. America's on a whole nother trippy thing, man. And look, I have nothing to. America's cool. It's like a cool place because it's capitalism, right? It's one of the rare places that you can actually start from ground zero and move your way up. There's no like tier system that can block you. There are things in place to block, but it's not a total blockage like if you lived in, I'll just say one of the worst, China, right? It's not like that. It's like there may be blocks, but you can go around. You can say, okay, I'm just going to work hard as I need to work to get where I need to work. Nobody can stop you on that front. It's open. There's other countries it's not so like that. But the fact of the matter is, when you start going and particularly into certain areas, you start loving places where you don't even have to worry about, like, okay, if I go to any major city in America, you have to watch your background. You got to worry about what's going on. Okay, in America, there's a reason. Like we talked about on Monday, there's weapons here. In Eurozone, weapons is not major gun weapons that you can shoot at people. That's not a, they don't have that many. So, like America has, it's something crazy, like 9 guns to every person or some crazy nonsense. It's crazy. So, and then the other countries are like 1 gun per person or something like that. It's a whole different ball game. You don't have these weapons or citizens aren't allowed to even carry certain weapons at all. So that changes the whole dynamic. So when you're out, that's why more people are more like, "Hey, what's happening? How you doing? Come on down." Right? Let's put it another way. I'll give you guys a story I've told before. So I was born in France. My parents was over in Spain. They went to go see a bullfight. So when they're over in Spain, they knew a Spaniard, a lady, and a husband, and they were friends with them. And so they're at the bullfight, and similar to the watch story, it's similar with me. Apparently, I'm like 1 years old or something. I don't know. They never told me how old I was, but I was under 2 years old. So I was like a baby. I must have only been like 7, 8 months or something. So they're at the bullfight, and the same similar thing happens. They're sitting there with their friends, and their friends are like, "Oh, he's so cute." And then my parents pass me to them. My parents are like over there, the bullfight, all comfy. Next thing you know, my parents don't know where I am. These people have started passing me around. Unbelievable. Right now, I could be in Spain right now, not even know who my parents are. Unbelievable. They pass me around. They know the people that are with my parents, and some of the people have seen my parents because they've been to the people's house before and all that. So they pass around. My parents are just like, oh, they're thinking they're right here or the next person over, and they're just watching the bullfight. Next thing you know, they're like, "Hey, where's my kid?" And the people, their friends, are like, "Oh, no, no, don't worry." They're like, "What do you mean, don't worry? Where's my kid?" So ultimately, I get passed around. These people know, the people that have me don't know my parents. They're just like, "Oh, cute kid." They know the people next to them. They take me to those people's house. By the way, coincidentally, which is not, my parents are actually staying at the same house. So my parents are panicked, thinking they lost me, going around town. They get to the house. I'm at the house sleeping. Meanwhile, my parents have been frantic for about an hour, hour and a half. And the people in Spain are just like, "No worries. We'll find him. It's all good." It's like you can imagine in America, that would not happen. That would not happen. It was crazy. All right. That's crazy. You go back to France for a few months and you'll be like French language pretty quickly. Yeah, Victor Morel. When I get over there, it starts, little things. I like I say, it's like the merci comes out a little more, things like that. But again, generally everybody speaks English, so I don't even try to do too much, it's like bonjour and all this. I just do basic, and I don't really get into anything else. And so nobody ever's like, "What you doing? Your passport says you're from France. What's happening here?" Nobody sweats me. They just, I mean, it's nothing but love. In fact, I get nothing but love when I'm there. All love, all the time. You go back to France. You guys already know. I told you several stories. Let me see. Fortis. I think it's Fort. Let me look something up real quick. I think it's Fortis Jewelries. Fortis. Fortis Jewelries. I think that's by the Champs Elysees. Um, let's see. No, 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 no. Paris. I'm gonna Google this. I think it's Fort. It's not. It was. It's for. I wanted to give you guys one of the great one of not the. It's not like Cartier or anything like that. But what I was gonna say, one of the best jewelry stores in France. I think it's. I thought it was. It's like Fortes or Fortis. Ah, 2 blocks over. from Champs-Elysees. But anyhow, one of these days I'll get the right guy so I can give him some promo and some love. So again, Curtis Davis is in the house. Welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. He has the icon next to his name. He brings the powerful tagline tonight. Good evening, SSN family and SSN Academy, SSN University, ABMM. Always be making money, ladies and gentlemen. Curtis Davis, aka Mr. Financials in the house, aka YouTube Street's name, Chili Davis, who drops videos damn near every day. Chilly Davis. We got to get him up to 1,000 subscribers and watch his videos so he can get those 4,000 watch hours. Go over there and show some love, ladies and gentlemen. Chili Davis with 2 L's, Chilly Davis with 2 L's. So, again, thank you so much for being here with the icon, Curtis Davis. All right. Victor Morrell, there's another world out there besides the U.S. We are supposed to be the most powerful country in the world, but we can't get ours together. Exactly. And because of that, we have what Victor Morrell started off with, the mental health is a problem here in America. You're pressurized. So they turned it into, you don't have to be pressurized. So they made it where everybody was kind of like equal. Now, what I'm going to tell you is, if you're not really a person that's a slacker, but yet they're trying to put you into where you do something very well, and then they're not acknowledging that, and they're still putting other people to equal you, that mentally will mess with you. So like I said before, you do this with sports. So when I grew up and played sports, we always wanted hardware, meaning you have to win to get the hardware. You're not getting hardware if you come in second place. You'll get, okay, let's call it what it is, right? You'll have the big trophy, first place. Second place, half size. Third place, half of that. Okay. But after third place, generally, no hardware coming. So it's pride, because you're like, as teams, where of the individual sports, you're trying to be the best. You know hardware's coming if you win. Nothing wrong with losing, but trying to be better so you get the hardware because you didn't get it before. And if you're already getting the hardware, how do you stay ahead of the pack? That means you have to try to up your game. So there's an ecosystem of excellence. So if you want to be a slacker, you don't want to partake, that's your thing. But this thing about saying, oh, we all tried, you guys were best, but guess what? Because we don't want these other people to feel bad, we're going to make them get their hardware too. See, that right there is a problem, because now how are you going to know what success is? You're going to be confused out here in the real world when somebody says, I'm sorry, you're not up to par. And now you're going to feel a certain way, thinking, hey, I was successful. This is what success is to me. No, that's the problem. All right. All the more reasons to diversify assets overseas if you can. Exactly. Number one team counts. Exactly, Curtis Davis. That's how it should always be. None of this, we're going to allow these losers to actually act like winners. This is where we're at now. You have all these losers running the country. That's what's happened. You go through 2 generations, 3 generations of this we all equal stuff. Now you got losers running the country, don't even know what the hell they're talking about, passing laws dictating what you're supposed to do against the Constitution, and now all of a sudden creating havoc in the streets because you have people that are losers running things, and that is not good, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why you're going to have a downfall in society. Just like you can't have a loser being a dictator, you're going to have downfall of your country. Same thing. It does not stop. But none of us are going to be in that line of fire. So again, we can create our own successes, however small or large. At least it's your success. Motivate, ladies and gentlemen. Don't try to go down. Try to always rise up. Leave people on the floor they need to be left on as the elevator's rising. You don't need to sit there and hold it open for them and be like, hey, come on now. Come on, man. We've been here for 2 minutes, now 4 minutes, now 5 minutes. I got a meeting upstairs that's actually something important. No, we don't need to keep doing this, ladies and gentlemen. If somebody doesn't want the information, hey, that's their problem. Move along. We got other things we got to do here. Now, speaking of information, I've been in this for an hour now. I got to talk to you guys about something. Okay, so video will be I didn't drop the video on Conarina. There's going to be another video on a new project, Vibes. Thank you, Georges Charles, for sending that over to me. Larimar. I just got word tonight. I will reconfirm again tomorrow. The prices on Larimar are going to go up sometime in April. And then, but it's not major though. That's the good news. It's not major. It's only going to be like 2.5%. So just so you understand, $100,000, 2.5% is $2,500. But the problem though is if they start doing it escalating on floors, that's going to be a problem, because I'm going to give you an example right now. In Tower 1 and Tower 2, when it first came out, you could buy a 1-bedroom for $89,000 and a 2-bedroom for $118,900. The $118,900 was throughout the whole buildings in Tower 1 and Tower 2. So now, if you want to be on like the 10th floor, it's not $118,900. It's like $132,900, somewhere like that. So now 2.5, yeah, okay, it might be like $3,000, but that's $3,000 in 3 months. So now that 133 is going to be 136, 137. 3 months later, that's right, every 3 months, ladies and gentlemen, 6 months. So if somebody said, okay, it was 133, now 6 months later, they say, I want to buy. Now that thing's going to be, what is that, 10 G's? It's going to be 143. 3 months after that, it's going to be like 147, 150. It's going to be in that ballpark. Every 3 months, it's going up 2.5%. Talk about Swift. You know what's going to happen in a year. Yeah, okay, 10%. But again, 10% in less than a year, and it could be more than that, because when you start adding levels, if you're on the 3rd floor, 4th floor, 5th floor, it costs more. Same hole's going to hold true for that $89,000 1-bedroom. In Tower 4, you can still get $89,000 for a 1-bedroom on any floor except penthouse, and $118,900 for a 2-bedroom, any floor. And the link is down below if you want to still check out Larimar, because that's Gwen's number. Call him up, contact him, tell him SSN Nation sent you. So just keep this in mind. If you're messing around, and Cruise on Land, April 1st, they're supposed to be raising their prices. And again, last time they did like $5,000 to $10,000. So I don't know what they're going to do this time. It could be $5,000 to $10,000, same thing. But the fact of the matter is, you're going to eventually find yourself in a situation where instead of you being able to get something that's so cheap, where now you're going to be like, okay, I'm paying $50,000, $60,000 more later on, maybe $100,000 more. You're missing out on equity, is what we would call it in the real estate game. All right. This is how it works. So can you imagine 2 years from now at this pace, if they do this pace, 2 years from now, 20%, there will be an inflationary adjustment. They won't all be 2.5, but think about 2.5 years, 3 years from now, you start talking about 30, 35%. You're going to be sitting there saying, well, wait, I could have bought this at 120 and now it's 200 or 190. 200. It's different. But all I'm saying is, this is why you get in now, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And then when they start delivering units, that's when things are actually really going to get crazy, because if they deliver units and somebody says, yeah, your unit's worth 300. Well, I'll use Laramar. Your unit's worth 250,000. Well, what's going to happen is that means that creates a value. That's literally what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen at the beach. That's what's going to happen everywhere. It's going to be worth more after the appraisals come out. So again, those are the things that are coming out. Just remember, 2.5% increase every 3 months. Prices are going to go up at Laramar. Cruise on Land, the link is down below as well for Cruise on Land in the description box. And they're going to raise their price April 1st. We just don't know how much. So everybody's going to be raising prices after this high season goes by. So keep that in mind. In April, most places are going to raise the prices. All right. You can diversify. That's how you should do it. Price on Cruise on Land going up next month too. Exactly. Models in office will be ready as well. I can't wait to go visit George's Charles. What he's referring to as Cruise on Land is going to have a model similar to Towers Vistacana. They had a model for their 1-bedroom as well, which was very, very nice, by the way. And it was a little over 53 square meters, which allowed them to have 1 full bath and a half bath. That's why I think 53 square meters is mandatory, 52 square meters, somewhere in there, so you can have a half bath. Unfortunately, Laramar doesn't subscribe to the theory of having a half bath, even though it is 529 square feet. Cruise on Land, their studio, it only has 1 bath as well, and no half baths anyhow, so anywhere. So again, but nonetheless, that's how it's going to happen. That's how it's going to do it. Okay. Please, once again, we can talk about it. What does success mean to you? If you can't get in the chat room, there's a reason why. It's because members of the channel are the only ones that can be in the chat room tonight. Members of Facebook, Twitter, could be in the chat room some nights, but it won't be tonight. Twitch members, yeah, you can be in the chat room tonight. So just saying, you can make comments, you can ask questions, you can talk about anything. All right. I'm not going to talk too long tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This was just a what is success, a little motivation, has how anyone can create success. You can. Your way, how you want to do it. And like Blue Eyes said, I did it my way, right? That's all you have to do. You don't have to go by what the noise out here is saying is success, right? You don't have to worry about if you live in a cardboard box. Does not matter. Is you're trying to be something and you say, hey, this is the best I can do, and I'm trying to do better, that's all you can do. Don't let anybody dictate your little successes are meaningless. All right? Any little successes matter, and just keep expanding upon them, right? That's all you have to do. Little motivation tonight, ladies and gentlemen. All right? And Friday, we're going to talk about something else because this economy is getting out of hand. They're building and building and building new homes all over the United States like they have loans or something. And they need somebody to buy these homes so they can pay these loans back. I mean, this is getting out of control. And home prices are still not dropping like they should have. It's not summer, but it's not meeting my timeline of my prediction either. Because remember, I was saying after July into August was the time to start thinking about it. But the rate these things are dropping is barely. And people started buying when that mortgage rates went down. Temporary. I'm like, what is going on with these people? 6.5. They're still like, oh, no problem. I'll buy that $600,000 home. Let's do it. I'm just like, $7,000 a month? Really? Seriously? That's the norm? So I'm just like, this is insane. This is insane. And just so people understand, do your math. Just go get the mortgage calculator to see, and then times whatever the mortgage is, times it by 3. In fact, times it by 3.5. That's generally what you're going to need to qualify. So if you're going to pay $6,000, $7,000 a month, you have to make $22,000 minimum with no bills. That's over $240,000 a year, which Literally 1% of the population makes that. So who's going to be doing this? Is craziness. How are prices not down yet? And why are people out here buying homes just because the interest rates are, instead of 6.95, they're 6.3 for a week? Why is this happening? Why? Who is buying these homes? You know what I'm beginning to think? I'm going to look into this, because the only way this makes sense is almost like the stock market. When you're sitting there looking at stocks and you're like, how are these stocks not going down? It's because the Federal Reserve is giving them money, and then they go and do their stock buybacks, right? I'm beginning to think this now. Those trillions of dollars that they're giving out the back door, I'm beginning to think they're giving it to a few people, and they're the ones out here buying these things up, because this can't be. You have less than 35 million people that make enough money to buy these $700,000 homes, these $800,000 homes, 900. I'm like, there's not enough people. And you damn sure aren't buying two of them. And you damn sure aren't putting 20% down. If it's your money, that's insane. So how's it happening, ladies and gentlemen? I want to hear this theory. If anybody knows, please let me know, because there is no way people should be buying these homes at these 6.75, 6.3, 7.3% interest rates. This is insane. This is insane. All right. Well, hopefully this little motivational chat that we had tonight is good enough. And I was actually going to show you guys something else. Victor Marrero, here he goes. Here we go. A 475K home loan at 6.4 for interest. You'll be paying $1K extra dollars per month from what you could have paid over a year ago. I don't know how people are doing it. Victor Marrero, that's why I just started thinking. I'm like, when things don't make sense, you have to start thinking, a different way. And the only way I can figure is some people are getting funnel money. That's the only explanation. There is no other way. The numbers don't lie. If you know X amount of people make this amount of money to qualify, you have to qualify. If you know this, and you know there's 3-4 million homes for sale, and you know out of that, a third of them are like $1 million, $900,000, then how are these homes moving? And you know there's another few extra 3, 4, 5 million in the pipeline under home builders. They're in the process of bringing those online in the next year. How is this possible? There's not enough. This is incredible. Somebody has to be getting money, and they're the ones buying it up. This is not, I know America's open. I mean, somebody from anywhere around the world can actually come and buy in the USA, except there's one little problem. This is one of the few places in the world that people have to spend 700, 500, 800,000 to buy, along with the other Euro nations, of course. But I'm just saying, the rest of the world, you can just go anywhere and buy homes for under 100 grand. So, I mean, this is crazy. This is absurd. That's the point, though. Why are you over here in America doing like, oh, I'm going to spend $750,000 for a little house or a house that's nice, when anywhere else in the world you can spend less than half of that and have a nice house? In fact, go over to Italy, say I want to spend $200,000, they'll give you a free house. Let's call it what it is, a free house, but it's $200,000 in rehab. They have that all over in Europe, Portugal, Italy. Yeah, the places are run down. They need rehab. But the point I'm trying to make is, I mean, this is like one of the only places. This is craziness. This is just insane. Thank you, Victor Marrero, for bringing this up, because every time it's just mind-boggling. And they brought the interest rates down, which should tell you what you need to know, because you move interest rates down by 0.25, 0.35, 0.45 all of a sudden people go out and want to buy homes because instead of paying 6.75%, it's now down to 6.4%. And they're now on a buying spree. People are lining up to buy homes. A travesty. A travesty. This is insane what's happening in America. Insane. But this all has to do with printing money. This already happened in London. This is what people in America are immune from. This is why nobody can live in downtown London, because this is what actually happened. Corporations, because the housing prices went off the charts, only corporations could buy them. So whole neighborhoods are ruined. Family, suburb neighborhoods are ruined, and people now have to live in the farmland. Can you believe this? Move out to where there's farmland and live in old farm locations because everything out to there is so expensive. It's insane. And there's already a playbook for this, and America's doing the same thing, even though they know, well, American citizens don't know history. They don't care about history, and you should, because everything that America is doing, they already did this in the Eurozone. This is why the Eurozone collapsed. That's why there's a thing called the Euro. All right? Because the whole region collapsed because they did this crazy nonsense. Greece collapsed themselves. Another country collapsed. All this stuff already played out. And we're sitting over here doing the same exact thing. All right? So I'm believing what happened in Europe. They gave it to the oligarchs, the top 10%. They loaned them money. They allowed their companies to borrow and millions and billions of dollars. That's how Anheuser-Busch got bought out by a European company, because they were able to borrow enough. No other United States business could buy Anheuser-Busch, not at the evaluation that they were going to pay for it. They had free money. So they were like, hell yeah, I'll just go over here and buy it. Who cares if it costs? It's similar to what our billionaire friend did with Twitter. No friend of mine, by the way. But the point of the matter is, he's able to spend and borrow $44 billion. Who cares if it's only worth 10? Who cares if it's only worth 5? Because he borrowed it. It's the same thing that they did with Anheuser-Busch. So in case you don't know that story, I'll just tell you right now, because I don't remember. That was a while ago. Anheuser-Busch. I want to go purchase price, sold price, sale price, whatever it is. Let me see if they give the numbers. Let's see what it was. It was something. It was just outrageous. At the time in 2008. All right, 2008, SAB Miller. I think that's is it Sweden or Switzerland? I can't remember. But either way, $52 billion with a B. All right. 52. InBev became the world's largest brewer in 2016 when they acquired SAB Miller. Okay, InBev. So 52 billion. No American company in 2008 was going to spend $52 billion on Anheuser-Busch. But guess who had money floating around in the Eurozone? InBev got a hold of money and they bought it. And the rest is history. So this is exactly what I'm thinking is happening now. There's just no correlation. The numbers don't lie. This is why I always like math, because you can correlate the statistics and look at everything and be like, okay, only X amount of people can afford to spend this much money. So we know $10,000, $120,000 a year household. So we can figure out X amount of millions of people can buy this. So if you have more than homes available than X amount of people that can buy it, then explain how's this happening? Because that's literally what's going on here. So the only explanation is they have to be giving money to the usual guys. The reason why your success may depend on, in the future, greatly, economic inequality. So think about this when you're sitting over there thinking, okay, I'm a success in this, I'm a success in that. That's fine. But there's one thing you're going to have to educate yourself on, and that is creating wealth out of thin air, because nobody's coming to your door dropping off $2 million. So you can go out here and go buy an asset. And then they turn around and say, well, we'll give you a 10-year loan at 1% and just pay us interest only annually for 10 years. Nobody's coming to do that for you, because in 10 years, that $2 million worth of assets you bought would have probably doubled or tripled, so you can borrow against it and go out and buy some more assets that's going to bring you in more revenue. And guess what? The party's on from that point on, right? Party's on. So you too can have property sitting in another country that you rent out. Nobody even knows, right? Because you bought assets, ladies and gentlemen. And now we have another one in the DR. You could have assets, somebody's paying you. You could live over there, mind your own business, free agent. You know you fly there. Nobody knows you own there unless what? They're going to look it up. United States isn't leaving the country looking up stuff like that because they have no jurisdiction. It's not like they can take it away. It's too bad, so sad. Not like they can force them to take it, that they can give it to them either. So again, as a U.S. citizen, are you sovereign or not? That's what you're going to have to eventually start asking yourself, because the only time you're going to be sovereign in reality is when you leave the country and have stuff in other countries. Now, I call that success, ladies and gentlemen. They're not even part of the ecosystem. So I go hang out in the neighborhood, go to my pad. They're just like, I'm like, okay. When I'm in France and the guys are like, you got to understand, our American passports, they're cool. But when the guys there find out that I'm like French by birthrights, let's say, all of a sudden you get more love. There is love, I will say. All right. When they find out, because generally I don't even say nothing until I'm doing something crazy. And then I'll be like, hey, look. And they're like, oh, you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay. That's how much love you get as a citizen. Good point, Victor, by Georges Charles. Exactly. So you guys got to understand what you're dealing with here. You want to be a success, you're going to have to create it, you're going to make it, and you're going to do it. If you have any questions, come back Friday. Or you can always email me at support@stopstrugglingnow.com. But come back on Friday and talk. We'll talk some more if you want, but we'll be on to another subject matter. But these open live streams, you can talk about anything you want to talk about. All right? That's what we do here. We want you to improve. Yes, you see the SSN Nation, SSN Academy, but you'll also notice no guru zone, no books to sell, no courses, no webinars. We're not selling you anything. We're selling you a dream to make yourself better, to let you know no matter what stage of life you're in, you can always improve. All right? There's always people to help you. You just have to be looking for the help. It's that simple. There's so much knowledge out here. All right. Curtis Davis, thank you. Thank you as well. He's part of the SSN Nation. Curtis Davis, Mr. Financial, a.k.a. Chili Davis in the YouTube streets. Thank you so much. He's part of the revolution. He's out here trying to help people and change the ways so you guys can get these assets, get this knowledge of information that you need, because the financial system, it's scary out here. They're doing things behind your back that you would never even think that you could do. So go check out Chili Davis's channel. He drops some information a day. We're looking at the numbers, and we're looking at like OMF going up like 1%. NVIDIA on Monday, I believe it was, he dropped it. NVIDIA up 2%. I mean, he's letting you know what's moving, so you can actually figure out what genre, technology, finance, even banks he dropped also. I think it was yesterday, the bank drop. He dropped in his little notes what's rising. And I was like, wait a minute, how did they move 2%? We have freaking banks like going out of business, and bank stocks are going up 2.3% a day, 2.1% a day. I'm just like, how's this possible? What is going on? There's only one reason it's going on. Guess who's getting the money to give to these banks to make sure they're going to be solidified, or who's giving them loans? All of this stuff creates for them higher value, and they're getting free money. Again, remember, I always say free money. It may not be entirely free, but the fact of the matter is I call it free. If somebody walks up to you today and let's just say you maxed out your credit cards, and somebody walks up to you and says, "Oh, don't worry about you maxed out your credit cards. We understand that, but we know you're in a hard place. We're going to give you a third or a half of liquid money here." You'd be like, "Really? Yeah, you can pay us back when you get around to it." Your life would be easy, wouldn't it? You'd be like, a third or a half of my maxed out amount, and it's like it's liquid. You have it in your palms, in your duffel bag of cash. You'd be like going out on a buying spree as well, going to get some more assets that going to pay you, right? You'd be like, "Oh, all right, let's go." You wouldn't have a problem. See, that's what you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why I started the channel, because you have to get in this playbook. You have to get into the plan. You may not reach that mountaintop, but you have to put yourself in position to be successful. That is how you will become successful. You have to put yourself in position. Getting in position is going to be very, very hard. But when you get yourself fully into position, then you're like, "Oh my God, this is beautiful. Things are going according to plan." In fact, I'm going to give you guys something else to think about. You guys know I used to always talk about, in fact, hold on. We got to do a little commercial, right? So I'll do this one right here, because this is what I'm going to bring up. Speaking of successes, success is very interesting, because I never really myself look at success. I look at something that I want to do, and then I say I'm going to do it. And then it's kind of like, we'll see if I can make it happen. Okay, I don't make it happen 100% of the time. We try. We have a little thing like SSN Lifestyle hasn't popped off like I wanted it to, right? Thinking that, but nonetheless, we're not going to give up about it. But the fact of the matter is, we're still doing something. So check this out. Some of you have seen this before. Let me see if I can find this. I don't understand why I don't have this. Well, maybe this is the day that I'm not going to play the video. Well, I was going to play this video because this was going to be my intro for what I was going to talk about to end this live stream. I always got to leave you guys a little something, right? Little crumbs here and there about some things of the blast from the past. 100 million loan to buy assets or buy businesses or buy distressed assets, SVB deal. Exactly, Mr. Financial. Free money for the top 10% to buy assets. Exactly. That's what I call free money. Like I said, if you're maxed out and somebody walks in and gives you money, that's free money. I don't care if they're going to charge you 10% annually or not. That's still free money. Let's call it what it is. All right. Because otherwise you can't do anything. So you wouldn't even be able to do it. You'd be locked. So it's a travesty, a stone cold travesty. All right, check this out, ladies and gentlemen.
Land. There's no better time to buy than now, and no easier way to buy it than at the big public land auction coming to a city near you. You bid, you win, you're a landowner.
We were maybe $3,000 less than what we expected to pay, so we're very happy. Very happy.
Very. We got a great deal for 2.5 acres of land.
Hundreds of parcels must be sold, from city lots to 10, 20, even 100-acre parcels. Now you can get clear titled land at auction prices. Call to register now to reserve your seat. It's free, and you get the complete auction catalog. You don't need to be a real estate expert to bid.
This is my first time, and it was so easy.
I love to work with them, and this is the first time I'm being here, but I'm planning to come back more and more and buy more properties.
Check out the properties you like. Look at maps online and at the auction. Do your homework, then attend the auction and win.
Great property. It was 5 acres, and I'm planning to do a lot with it, but I want to buy more properties now. That's why I'm here.
Land auction buying power means no middleman, no real estate commissions, and it's an auction, so you set the price.
I
I walked in and it was super simple.
You can get property 20%, 30% below retail value if you actually went there.
Down payments as low as $100, and Land Auction has easy financing available right at the auction.
Land auction financing was no problem whatsoever, sailed right through the process.
I'm not going to recommend Land Auction to anybody because then I'm going to give all the good deals away.
Visit landauction.com to see our auction calendar. Get ready to reserve your seat and come to the public land auction right in your city. It's free, it's fun, it's like nothing else.
Landauction.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you might have saw your favorite SSN Nation participant in that. Some of you have seen that many times, but I have to throw it in there every now and then because you guys know I give you stories, but they could just be stories, right? They could just be what they do these days, cap, right? So sometimes I have to break out some things, and I found something because I had to go look for something. So this is very, very interesting. Remember, when I talk about the top 10 percenters get treated a little differently, right? I crossed out a person that you've never seen on the live stream or seen on my videos. So that's why I crossed the name out. It's not like it's a nefarious or a problem. It's just that you guys have never been introduced. So I just crossed the name out. So anyhow, this right here, you guys saw the video from Land Auction, right? All right. I don't know if the trailer showed where that was. That was at Irvine, I think. Now that I'm thinking about it, that was at Irvine when I was at the Irvine one. And but anyhow, so before I actually show this, let's talk about a subject matter we just talked about, success that we're talking about. So when I was just now talking about the top 10 percenters, how they get free money. Remember, I mentioned that, right? They have advantages. You also have advantages when you meet success in a different way. So let's just start out with the basics. Landauction.com basically is discount lots. Just think of discountlots.com that you can go to and buy, except instead of them already having terms dictated, those properties are up in an auction because literally those are the properties that were up for auction. So instead of somebody saying put down 10% and pay $220 per month, you can buy this land. Land Auction comes in and generally starts a no minimum bid auction. You know, 1 acre over here in let's see, Riverside County, 2 acres in Palm Desert, right? Open auction, no minimums. So people come in. You buy land, you win the bid. That in itself could mean somebody was successful. Everybody that wins a bid in any auction, you think you're successful, right? Now, depending on what you do after that will determine if you feel you're more successful or not. But most people feel when they own a piece of land, they're successful. That's how you're raised in America, right? Or around the world for that matter. So I buy land. Just like Joe Schmo, I buy a few more pieces than Joe Schmo. So these guys say, well, this guy might be somebody that we like him. He should stay with us, right? So you guys know the story that I told you before where I said, hey, these guys used to fly me around. So today I'm going through some old stuff that I'm looking for. I'm looking for some old real estate contracts. I'm trying to help somebody. And I said, I might have real estate contracts in my email. Lo and behold, I found this stuff from Land Auction in my emails. So I want to illustrate, think about this. So when you comparing yourself to other people who are showing you things on the internet, on social media, and they're showing you whatever they're showing you, and you're thinking, oh, that guy's successful. Well, again, a lot of people work hard to be successful, but sometimes we get to go through the cracks and move faster. because a crack opens up and they say, hey, you can come through. We're going to close this one off now only, but we got a spot for you. You can come through. We're going to close it off to everybody else. Well, this is something similar. This is why I'm telling you, everything is not equal. So you can't sit out here and go, oh man, I can't reach my goal. I can't be successful because I can't make it. No, you can make it. Like I say, you have to go around sometimes. You go around, through, and under. All right. But nobody's actually stopping you. But there are creases in the continuum, if you guys understand some space stuff, right? So here's a point that I'm trying to make. So I'm an innocent bystander. I buy my first property from landauction.com, but at that auction, I bought two lots. Okay, so I'm an ordinary guy. I'm nobody. I'm just like anybody else in the room. So now, but there's a difference that most people won't do. Most people put down their $1,000. Their deal was you had to put down $1,000 and they financed the rest. My stuff, I bought those two. I paid off I would do the same thing, put down $1,000, then my payments or whatever, $200 a month. But in less than 2 weeks, instead of financing, I paid it off. So both of my things I bought, because I flipped, so I pay them off. So that raises like, okay, this guy was just at our auction like last week. Because here's how it works. At the auction, you sign paperwork. They have to go to closing and put the acreage or lots in your name. So it takes them about a week because they go to their closing agents and everybody signed documents at the auction. And in a week later, they're all at the closing agency. The closing agent sends the docs to you, to me, and it shows, it's in your name. You're good. You know, Chicago title, you're good. So, so by the time they've wrapped that up, stuff is sent to me. I'm already paying it off. So they're getting none of that interest. All right. So the first time, they used to have these things like seemingly every month, but I'm pretty sure they weren't. But nonetheless, the next one comes up. I buy 2 or 3 again. The next one, and by the way, I was in one of their first, in fact, unbeknownst to me, I was in their first infomercial and I never knew it. All right. Because when I first went there and bought 2 lots, they had like the green screen and all that, an interview area, and they would talk to people on the way out. So that when I was walking out, they said, why'd you buy stuff? And I explained, hey, I bought it because it's in this location and this lot it's actually worth $15,000, $20,000. And I bought it for $3,000. I bought it for $1,800. And so after I just told them the story, and this whole time for a year or 2, I knew nothing about they were using me for their infomercial. They didn't call me. They didn't tell me, but I didn't really care. But anyhow, so now we go into another year. I'm still doing land auction, except this time, the people that were doing the land auction, because it was in LA, were people from their office. They didn't just have random people from the hotel and just 1 or 2 people checking people in. This time, somebody was there. I go to this lady to check in, and she's looking at the thing, and she sees my name, and it says Eric Bird on there. This lady says to me, she goes, you know you're in our infomercial, right? I was like, what? No. She goes, yeah, I know who you are. In fact, I'm surprised nobody's ever talked to you and called you. I said, I've talked to you guys all the time. Every auction I buy a few pieces of land and acres or whatever. She's like, no, you don't understand. I'm in the coordinator office and I do travel for everybody. And actually, you're eligible for us to fly you into any of our auctions. I was like, what? She's like, yeah. Now, advantage, don't you think, ladies and gentlemen? So now, prior to this, what am I doing? I'm in business. So everything I do is a write-off anyhow, right? I get on a plane, I fly to LA. So what if it's $120 per person round trip? Airfare, I'm staying at the Sheraton, Universal, let's say. That was the first one. So that's a write-off to me. It's business. So it didn't matter to me one way or another. But when she says, oh, hey, all of our auctions, now keep in mind, they have auctions all over the place. So she proceeds to get all the guys are there. The main guys are there. And they're like, that's Eric Bird. That's who I've been looking for. And I'm like, you had my phone numbers. I'm like, what are you? She's like, yeah, but I'm not the one that coordinate all that. I'm just like I coordinate some other aspect. So she starts talking to me and I'm like, oh, this is cool. She's like, oh yeah, you're VIP. We're going to fly you in. So I'm going to show you, here's exactly what they were talking about. Because after that point, they're in Arizona, they're in New York, they're in Miami, they're in Fort Lauderdale, they're in Texas, they're in Washington State. Me, wife, hotel, rent a car, even in some cases, on the house. Now, not only do I not have to spend my own money, now I'm at the auction for free, literally. Who else is going to be there from California? Nobody. Who else is going to know about property when properties come up and it's in Arizona and they're like, oh, we have property in Palm Springs, Riverside County. We have property up in Shelter Cove. We have property over here. Nobody in that place in Phoenix is going to be interested in property in California, in the desert, no less. They're already in a desert. They're not going to go get property in that or Northern California, someplace they'll never go. So what do you think those properties go for? They're going to auction them off for like $1,500, $2,000. And guess who's going to be there to be picking them up? Me. And I'm there on the house at no cost. So I have a clear advantage. So you guys understand there's a crack that opened. I got to walk through completely by accident, only because I stopped and did an interview like a year earlier. Right place, right time, right thing. And then a year and a half later, it's like maybe even 2 years later. Like I said, I think it was 2 years later. This lady's working at the booth because I'm in LA from Sacramento, which I might not have went, but I'm doing this thing. And it just so happens I get her. If I'd have got anybody else, they would have just been like normal. Hey, nice to see you. Check in. So think about this, ladies and gentlemen. You have to be somewhere. Sometimes karma, you can call it. Sometimes you have to put yourself in position to create the success, but you have to create it one way or another. So the reason I'm saying this again is because when you are in the top 10%er club, or you put yourself in position to succeed and create the success, you never know what's going to happen. By complete accident, I got this lady. And from that point on, I'm going to show you what happened on 2 occasions so you guys can see it yourself. And this is the emails I found. I had to put it in a PDF format because I couldn't go to my email and open it up because I couldn't hide my information that's may or may not want you to see, but nonetheless, privacy situation. So check this out. Here it is. Here's a PDF. All right, let me see if it gets any bigger. If I'm off the screen, no, it stays the same. All right, here's a PDF. Check this out. Now, while everybody else at these locations are getting there, however, they might have even had other people, but the point is, I never saw anybody else I would have recognized, because you always know people after you've seen them once or twice. But look at this right here. Okay, no, we're not sitting in first class. I would not accept that. The only thing I accepted was you always had to bring, my wife got to come with me, mandatory. And they said, no problem. And then, so here's New York. Okay, New York, ladies and let's call it what it is, Manhattan, the island, the place you want to be. So look at this. All right. So Sacramento, you guys can see late night, because I told them I want the late night flight. So I arrive in the morning, sleep that day. So again, notice it's Wednesday. Auction's not on Thursday. It's not on Friday. It's on like Saturday, I think. So anyhow, what I want you to see is you too would be doing quite well if somebody says, hey, you're going to land on Thursday. Take the red eye, which of course was the cheaper flight. I didn't mind. I was like, I don't care. I'll sleep on the flight. We'll be fine. Then I get there. I'll be in Manhattan. So arrive at LaGuardia, not JFK. In case you don't know, JFK is 45 minutes to an hour from Manhattan, whereas LaGuardia is on the island. So now notice, budget rent-a-car. Even though I really shouldn't have gotten it, but nonetheless, they paid for my rent-a-car that you guys can see right here, $335, airfare, and Marriott LaGuardia Airport Hotel. Yeah, not that expensive, $129 a night, but they paid for all of this. All right. And look, when I left, look, Monday, Thursday through Monday. What do you guys think? The auction's only one day. It's not 2 days. It's one day. Generally, Saturday is when the auction was. So I get there Thursday. I'm hanging out Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, go to the auction, Sunday, hanging out after the auction, hanging out to Sunday, Monday, I leave. All right. That's what we do. And this is 2000. What is this? 2000. When is this? 2007. That's 2007. All right. Now, check this out. So we have a second. I have more, but I just figured I'd break these out because I just had to copy and paste. Here's this one. Here's your copy of your Fort Lauderdale itinerary. In Miami area, Fort Lauderdale, which now I have another advantage. Not only are these guys new to Fort Lauderdale area, people don't really understand what they're doing, and they have over, probably at that time, I think they had 95 to 105 properties. Some in Fort Lauderdale, people, now keep in mind, this is 2000, I don't know, we'll see, 6 or 5 or 7 or whatever. Port St. Lucie was an up-and-coming city. So I knew, because that's near Fort Pierce, I knew about Port St. Lucie, and I knew what they were doing over there. And they had all this land, and they had a few pieces for auction. Can you believe this? In Fort Lauderdale, people in Fort Lauderdale saw the Port St. Lucie stuff and was like, that's nothing. That's up in the middle of, that's by Fort Pierce. Then that's nothing. Far enough away because people in Fort Lauderdale could care less about Port St. Lucie, right? So that gives me an advantage. A huge one. What do you think of buying land versus a unit in a project in the DR? Actually, when you buy land, you have to have a purpose. You're not just buying land to sit on it, but you could if you buy it cheap enough. But you're going to have to pay taxes generally on land, so it's costing you money every year. So if we're talking about the DR, the only thing that you should be doing is buying the land and building a house post haste, because the cost to build a home, townhome, whatever, duplex or whatever you want to build is going to be the cheapest now. Actually, it was the cheapest 5 years ago, but it's going to continue to rise. You guys already know this. It's going to be $100 a square meters. Then next, well, at one time it was $50 a square meter. Then it was $100. Now it's like $150 to $200 a square meter. So land is only valuable or gets more valuable as the homes or structures on that land increase in value. But the thing that increases in value the most is when there's a building on the land. Land doesn't appreciate as fast as a building does. So you really want to buy the cheap land and build on it, but you can go that route with a reputable builder. That's a little bit more headache for most people, or you can just pay the extra and buy from a developer and pay the extra $25 to $50 a square meter. So take your pick. It's hard to say. It all depends on the person, because if you're going to live there, you're going to do things a certain way. If you're going to rent it out, you're going to do it another way. So it all depends on the individual. So I don't really have a preference, other than it's up to the individual person. So, that's how that goes with land. I would get a structure because they're cheap enough. Well, they were cheap enough. They're starting to escalate. So let's see what happened in Fort Lauderdale. So again, I can't remember all this stuff, but nonetheless, this is December 06. Okay, cool. Of course, Delta Airlines once again. Let's see what happens. Hampton Inn, Fort Lauderdale, once again, relatively inexpensive, $149 a night. Isn't it like the same rates now? But anyhow, $149 a night, no resort fee, but they're paying all of it. No rent-a-car, I don't think is needed. I don't think so. No rent-a-car. So travel coordinator is the girl. That's who was at that desk that day. And she recognized me and said, hey, you need to be VIP. So here we are, Wednesday again. Looks like I have a nighttime flight once again. When did I leave this time? 3 nights. All right, not bad. 3 nights, 4 days. So I must have left on Sunday. Must be Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, nights left on Sunday. So another 3 nights, 4 days in a place where people go to vacation. How good is this, ladies and gentlemen? You get to go to places that people vacation at. You get 2 days and a half where you can just go around and do whatever you want, because you're going to show up at the auction. Then you have advantages when people don't know they're selling some property here in Florida, in California, in Texas, in Florida. People in Florida are like, we don't know nothing about property over there. So once again, I have an advantage. Now, let me give you guys something else. This is why the top 10%ers don't lose. In this particular case, I've told this story before, which I should have that pulled up. You guys would trip about that as well. But I'm going to give you the full game plan, because this is actually what goes on to this day. All right. So now we go to the auction, and because I buy properties, let's say $1,000 is what you would have to. So when you show up at the auction, you have to slide a card or bring cash or bring a money order. I can't remember all the things, but you had to put down $1,000. So now I don't have, that's waived. So I don't need to check in and bring money or bring and put up any deposits, do nothing. Now it's carte blanche, my word. Does this sound like a bank? My word. I'm here. We're good. Yes, you're good. You don't have to show us nothing. You're carte blanche. But on top of that, you have to pay minimum $1,000. So if you buy a property, you have to pay $1,000. All right. How about this? When I go sign a property, I put nothing down. I just sign. Now, another advantage. They're not charging my debit card. I'm not giving them a check. My transaction is a PIN. Eric, you're good. We'll have the documents sent to you and you'll sign them like normal. We'll FedEx them next week. You can enclose the check then or when or whatever. Much different process. The other people are over there signing papers. They're doing the transaction. They're there for 30, 40 minutes. I do 3-4 properties in less than 10 to 15 minutes because I'm just signing. We're going to FedEx it to you. Advantage. So you guys understand, this is what the banks and all these guys get the advantages of. Same type of thing. You're out here hustling. You're out here thinking, damn, I'm not successful. What's going on? Putting yourself down. That's not how you have to look at it, ladies and gentlemen. Some people have advantages. All right? That's all there is to it. The world is not fair. So once you understand that you have advantages, this is what was going on. So some people are, and of course, at the auctions, people are asking me. People are actually coming up to me. And little did I know, like I said, at one point, I didn't realize I was on the infomercial. So people were coming up to me, asking me, hey, man, we seen you. They used to tell me they saw me at the auction before. They never said they saw me on TV. They would always say, I saw you on the auction. So I'd say, yeah, I go to almost all of them. And then I'd give them advice, just like what I'm telling you guys. I'd tell them. And then they would start listening. Some people would see me again, and some people wouldn't buy because they're scared. Just like right now, people in the DR, when we say that's a good idea and people say I'm scared, the same thing. No, not everybody sees your vision. That's why you always have to go for your vision. Not everybody sees it. And so the same rules apply. So people ask me, I would tell them, I'd help them out. Then they see me in another auction. They'd say, hey, man, I took your advice and you were right. I should have went out there and saw the property before I bid because it was a dud. But the next one I bought, I listened to you. I went there, saw it, had water, sewer on there. And I can't believe it. I was able to buy it for like half the price that I got this one for that doesn't even have this stuff on there because I listened to you. These are the kind of things that happen when people are open to listening, right? Success is based on, are you listening? Are you really listening and giving somebody the benefit of the doubt while you're listening to them saying, hey, wait a minute, I don't agree with what they're saying, but maybe they're right. Maybe I should look at it this other way, right? You have to create it, ladies and gentlemen. So motivational talk continues, but I thought I would bring that out tonight since I do have the land auction reel, that one. Like I said, one of these days, I'll break out the real infomercial because I actually have it. Unfortunately, it's from a TV studio. And you guys know it's not VHS. It's on that old, it's a cartridge, but it's like a beta, or it's not even really a beta. I can't even, it's whatever the TV studios used to use. That's what I have it on, the infomercial. So one of these days I'll be able to convert it or something. But the point is, they're doing this with me. I'm doing this for years. I'm loving life. I'm flying around all in the US and wherever they had auctions. And I'm almost like what you would call a ringer, but I'm not a ringer, but I'm there with properties that I want to buy in California, and I'm in a different state and they're selling properties in California. So you know the prices aren't going to be that high because they're just like, no. So I have an advantage all across the board. Free accommodations, free car rentals, free entry, sign on the way out, and hang out for 2 or 3 days. I mean, what better way is that? And I still get to write off my food. I still get to write off anything because I'm still there on business, right? It's beautiful. If you can get it, it's beautiful. But these are what bankers are doing. These are what CEOs of companies, this is what they're getting. While we're out here busting our ass, they get this type of treatment. All right. So keep this in mind. Don't put yourself down because you see somebody else successful. You don't know how they got there. And there's a little help along the way. And I had a little help along the way because if they weren't, look, I would have never flown to New York. Well, maybe New York, I would. Fort Lauderdale, I might have went there too, maybe, but I doubt it. I probably wouldn't have flown clear across the country. Miami, because there was one there too. I might not have went to Miami. Phoenix, yeah, okay. Phoenix, I'm there. Vegas, I'm there. SoCal, I'm there. Washington, I'm there, maybe. So those spots I would, but traveling on the East Coast, even though they had 1, 2 properties or 4 properties in Cali on the East Coast agenda, that's not really worth it. But when they said it's free, then of course I'm going over there. And now I'm getting 1, 2, or 3 properties with the stroke of a pen and having them sold in less than 2 to 3 weeks. So we're turning them over and flipping. I have an advantage at that point. So Now everybody there has no advantage. They could have been making money, but they wouldn't have known it because they're not thinking, because it's sight unseen. It's in another state. They're not doing it. So I get to pick up cheap stuff. So I just wanted to give you an idea about that. Now I'm going to give you one other, and I'm trying to think of what the name was. It was, God, it's in Tennessee, was another auction house. And this guy, he, Fairfield Glade in Tennessee. I think it was Fairfield Glade. This guy has people paying HOA fees, and they're literally trying to give their lots away in Fairfield Glade at the time. This is probably 2010, 2009, 2011, whatever. So he has auctions online, except his auctions are a little different. It's webinars. He can stream it. So he's in Tennessee and he's doing live streams or Zoom, I guess, or whatever. I can't really remember what it was, but it was Zoom. So people can actually bid online. So he contacts me, or I contact him, and I said, hey, what's up with this Fairfield Glade? It's a master plan community. It's gated. It's security gates. And you can build your homes with these lands. He's like, yeah, these people are giving their lands away because the HOAs are $75 or something like that a month if you own land here. And they've owned their land for like 10, 15, 20 years, and they're not building on the land. So I told him I'm going to go around and see if anybody wants to be in my auction. So, and I was like, okay, so that's how you accumulate these. He's like, yeah. So they're literally just want any money. He has the auction, and you guys wouldn't believe this. The lots, and they don't have lots that are only like 5,000 square feet. No, these lots are like 10,000, 15,000 square feet. So they're nice size. I mean, you know, so these, you guys aren't going to believe it, but I'll tell you, $300 for lots inside Fairfield Glade. $150, $200, $300. After the auction is over, people wouldn't buy the lots. He calls me up and he says, hey, Eric, I have like 6, 7 lots that nobody even bid on, nobody wants. And I said, well, maybe it's in a bad area. Because again, you got to go get your maps out. You got to get any information you can get. At that time, satellite was out, so you could actually see the lot and everything, so you could get topography and all of that. So I could sit in my house, which I did, and I could bid on lots based on the topography. All that terrain and all that stuff came out, so you could actually do it without going there. So he tells me he has 7, 8, 9 lots, and he's willing to give them to me for $300 each. So now I call brother, sister, family, friends, and say, hey, guys, I say, hey, you can actually buy these lots for $300. You can then turn around and sell them for $900, $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, depending on where they are. And in some instances, depending, if you get one that's in this one low area, then it's going to be $2 or $3 grand. Of course, the ones in the $2 or $3 grand area lot price, only 1 or 2 of those were even available. But anyhow, we got one of those. All right. So again, my friends could benefit, family could benefit. So quite frankly, I just bought these lots for $300. I sold them for like $900. Literally. That's all I did. I was just like, I'm not ever going to do anything with these. And every month the clock is ticking where you got to pay $55 or $75 a month. I can't really remember. So if I have to pay HOAs, that means every month I'm subtracting either $50 or $75. So now the value is coming down. The lots are worth $1,200 or $1,000. Somebody offered me $900. A guy said, I'll give you $2,700 for it. As soon as I bought them, I was like, okay, you paid closing, we're good. So it was a matter of less than 7 days. So I was like, I'm sticking with this guy. He goes back again 6 months later, some more. He goes to other places and has these same type of deals. Now, I got to tell you something. The other side of the coin is this. You guys know everybody buys something at an auction, does not buy it. Everybody that bids and wins does not ultimately buy it. What do they do with those? I wish I could pull it up. What do they do with those? Let's see. I'm going to pull it up. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let me see if I have something. But I bids. People bid, and nobody comes to the booth and says, I'm here to sign off. I'm number 54. And they go pull the stuff and say, this is what you want. You got to pay or do whatever. They don't show up. Now they're sitting in inventory, and all they're going to do is run it in the next auction, right? Wrong. They're going to call me up, and they're going to say, hey, Eric, these pieces right here is up your alley in what you like. Do you think you want these? And so, of course, there's only two questions you're going to ask. How much is it? And what's the terms? So they say, here's the term. We need you to charge, we want to charge $100. $100, ladies and gentlemen. $100 charge, and then we'll take $200 per month or $150 per month at 7-8 years if you want. Whatever I want to do. But $100 you have to pay to buy it. Not buy it, but $100, and then you do a payment plan. I'm just like, okay. So now I'm getting things at rock bottom prices and nobody's bidding. This is like, okay. Do you think it's $2,500 is good? $3,400 is good? Okay. You want this acre for $3,400? You want this 2 acres, 5 acres for $2,500? Yeah, $100 down, $100 a month. Good, sold. This, again, is what the top 10%ers get to do out here. Why do you think I'm so upset all the time? Because this is what they're doing. Insider deals that other people can't get. Other people at the auction don't know anything about it. There's other people that may, but they know I'm in the game. They know, hey, this guy's going to go buy. So again, these are the reasons you have to put yourself in success. And when you're successful, you have to always learn more. You have to always create more. Not necessarily more money, but you need to create more, right? So again, I ran a little bit longer than I wanted to, but hopefully this is a little bit of motivation for you tonight. Hopefully this gets your mind thinking that, hey, you know what? We need to do this. And you have help here, ladies and gentlemen. If you need help, you have people here that are investors, entrepreneurs, business-minded people. You have actually people that love to help people. They're all here. So if you have a question on Monday and Friday live streams, ask them. People will help you. I don't know all the answers to everything. Like I always say, nobody does. If somebody acts like they do, then that's a problem. Nobody knows everything. All right. Everybody has a way to learn. Things change year after year after year. All right. So again, just remember, we know what to do. You have pathways. We're leading you to the water with our ideas and the reasons why we do something. If you want to join us, then you can. If you don't, you can still join us a different way. We're still going to help you out around here. That's what we do here. All right. So smash the like button, tell other people about it, and let people know they can come here. You're welcome. There's no harassments going on. You have ideas, you have thoughts, you can put it down here. We'll give you our ideas and thoughts. This is what human beings should do. This is what you have to do to F average and be legendary. You have to be able to be criticized. And your criticism isn't supposed to be like, oh, now I hate you. The criticism should be, you should listen and say, well, maybe I do need to improve. Maybe I do need to do this. Now, you have the option to say, well, I'm not going to do it, even though, you know, but all I'm saying is, but you should listen and then say, hey, maybe they're right. And then if you say, okay, maybe I'm going to still do it this way. That's one other thing. At least think about it. Same thing, right? So if you want to F average and be legendary, then you have to actually expand. Nothing stays the same. All right. Just keep that in mind. Nothing stays the same. Just because you're making $1 million today doesn't mean you're going to be making $1 million a year from now. All right. Just remember that. But you can put things in place where you know you have income coming in. And that's the most important thing when we start talking about financial success, because that's what we're trying to do here. Okay. No games. We can do high risk. We can do high rewards, but no games. Speaking of that, Miracle Cash and More, I'm going to be dropping a video tomorrow. It'll be a video that they created. You guys may or may not know, but they've had somebody actually assessing the value of the corporation, their holding company, which is holding all the licenses for all of their stores and everything they're doing, exchange system, their point of sale systems, their loan system, all of that. There's a value. I'm going to leave you in suspense to find out the value. But you guys, if you've been around here, you know the value that I've told you before. You know what I think this value is going to be. They've downplayed. They're saying a different value. I'm just going to tell you that it's lower. But ultimately, the value for a Boogie Gopher Club NFT and the company itself, I believe, so far they're pulling it off. It's going to have a trillion number. That's what it's going to have. All right. So just keep that in mind. I've been saying this. And after you hear what they say, now you're going to be like, wait a minute, this guy, is he a psychic? Watch what they say. And we're going to talk about it. I'll be dropping that video, and I'm going to be talking about it during the video. I'm going to drop that tomorrow because a lot of people don't realize the Benelux MFA, which is the thing that they're going to want people to say. The franchise agreement, that is going to be, it's $5,000 for Benelux. So if you want to do that, I think I have the Miracle Cash and More link down below. It takes you to Cashflow NFT. That's where you sign up. You sign up as a free person, free affiliate, by the way. You can refer other people. And if you refer somebody, you get 10% of what NFT they buy. Now, that's not the main thing. You want to sign up, whether you want to buy or not. But the fact is, you can refer somebody and get commission. Or you can buy the NFT for $5,000, and you can only do it with $5,000 worth of crypto or wire $5,000 in. There will be going up. The UK NFT is supposedly 10K, and I forgot to look. It's still, if it's 5K, you should be getting it. I'm just going to say, put yourself in position. Now, that is the best time, best way. If anybody has anything else to say, let me know tonight, because we're about to wrap this up. And thank you for being here once again. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here. And that's why we have individuals in the house like Mr. Financial and Chili Davis in here helping people. That's why Victor Morel's chiming in, trying to get people a little love and support. That's why we have Laverne Penix, a.k.a. Mr. Cool here, occasionally coming in, giving some love and support and understanding as well. This is why we have the young gun, Miracle Bro, who's under 30 years old, making things happen here for inspiration as well. We have Georges Charles, the emerging millionaire in the house, making it happen, telling you what he's doing. We have James Way to remind everybody the rent is too damn high. Is it really going to go down? Yes, it's going down, but that's just forewarning you. Groceries still going up. Electricity still going up. Cost of living still going up. What does that tell you, ladies and gentlemen? You're going to need to do something, right? You're going to have to do something. So just keep all of that in mind, and we're all here to help you, and then some. More will be here on the way. Troops are on the ready, on the standby to help you with whatever you want to discuss. People are sending me emails asking me about all kind of different things that we do talk about on the live streams. But as you guys know, we're a little shadow banned, so they don't like to put out our live streams. But We just tell the truth and how it is, and we get you working in the right direction, so nothing's going to stop you from being financially successful and being a good person to help other people as well. That can't stop you. So let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. I love you. I appreciate your support. And we're trying to make a change here for the future, for your children's future. It's that simple. And with all that said, keep your head up. Keep moving. And I'm out.